You're watching Satluj TV News. I'm Angus Scott in London. Justin Trudeau's announcement this week that he had credible evidence to support the fact that the Indian government were behind the murder of Khalistan campaigner Hardeep Singh Nijjar has unsurprisingly sent shockwaves across North America, Europe and of course in India itself. The implications of the allegation are enormous, not just in terms of international politics and global relations between East and West, but also for the many millions of Sikhs and Hindus living in the respective nations. On the one hand, it's no surprise that the Indian government itself has denied the claim, calling it absurd. Indian media also stands united, working overtime to condemn the accusation from every state-sponsored news outlet. But this also remains unsurprising from a nation where dissenting independent news outlets are regularly closed down by the government. A sorry state of affairs that has left India now ranking barely above North Korea in terms of a free press. And on the other hand, nations of the Western democratic world are showing differing levels of engagement with the situation, with reactions couched in layers of diplomatic language. But they all acknowledge the fundamental fact that many on the Indian side are reluctant to accept is that no government would make such a public accusation if it had not uncovered genuine evidence to back such a claim. The implications of being wrong are simply too significant, particularly for a relatively small country like Canada against the fifth largest economy in the world. So whilst the clamour for evidence is loud from India, the Canadian government will be understandably slow to release details of internal intelligence operations whilst the investigation continues. Meanwhile, the US government has been unequivocal in its support for the Canadian investigation, with a White House spokesperson robustly replying to the Washington Post on Twitter that the US government supports Canada's ongoing law enforcement efforts. Here in the UK, Britain's Foreign Secretary James Cleverly yesterday confirmed that the UK also stands firm in supporting the Canadian investigation, but refused to be drawn into any condemnation of India until the investigation had concluded. Of course, Britain enjoys close ties with India and needs to take a particularly diplomatic approach to any discussions that could force it to take sides in any dispute. But it is on the streets of Canada, the US and the UK that the real implications of both the murder of Nijjar and the potential involvement of Modi's government will be felt. Already, Hindu communities are expressing fear of a backlash against them personally. Indian communities of all faiths across the diaspora have enjoyed good relations for many years, but the divisive policies of the current Indian administration have driven large wedges between differing sects both in India and internationally in recent years. And if conclusive proof is revealed that India did in fact murder Nijjar and potentially others, the consequences for ordinary Indians all over the world could be catastrophic. And for Modi himself, being caught out in such a brazen act of political assassination would render India's reputation with that of a banana republic. For India's sake, hopes are that it's all been a giant mistake. You've been watching Satluj TV News, and don't forget to click on that subscribe button to make sure you get to see stories as they're broadcast. And of course, if you have any comments or opinions on any of our news stories, you can comment below, or indeed drop us a direct message at message@satlujtv.com. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks for watching. For Satluj TV News, I'm Angus Scott in London.